So in the third unit, so that is the error detection codes. We discussed about the various different types of coding techniques. So in the earlier class, we discussed about the checksum method, Hamming codes, framing of the Hamming codes. And today we'll discuss another method. So that is called as a line synchronization. Line synchronization means, suppose if you are communicating any information, for example, some data we are communicating. So whatever the pulse, starting of the pulse, at the same time the receiver will also receive the pulse. So just like I will give you one diagram. Yeah. Now you can see this is the uh, clock width of the transmitting pulse. So clock of the transmitter. So the clock of the transmitter is exactly same to the clock of the receiver. Clock of the transmitter is exactly similar to the clock of the receiver. Then there is no error will be taken place. So this is the transmitter clock. So both are in phase, so that there is no deviation occur. But whenever there is a deviation between the transmitting clock and the deviation clock, there must be a chance of producing some errors. So one clock difference. Here it is, starting from here, but this is started from one clock. So there is a lack of one clock pulse. 1 minute. So this type of errors, to eliminate the errors, so in the communication, and also if you are communicating the DC pulses also, there is a problem. Is it visible? My screen is visible. Can anybody say, is it visible? So regarding projects, for MECS group, I 30 students allotted for me. That is from 0012 to 030, 30 students. So maybe for 15 students, you have to do the project work on the error detection codes only. Different types of error detection codes that you have to write it clearly. Various types of coding techniques are there that you have to write it at one place. That is a project for you. So error detection codes, there are various codes are available, like cyclic redundancy check, parity checker and generator, similarly checksum method, Hamming codes, etc. So you have to write at least some 2 to 3 different types of coding techniques. Okay, so coding techniques, it is under the paper 6, that you can take it as a paper. Am I audible? Yes, students, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Right. సో అది ఫస్ట్ 15 మెంబర్స్ కి ఈ కోడింగ్ టెక్నిక్స్ దాని మీద మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఈ క్లాసులన్నీ చెప్తున్నాం కదా, దాని మీద మీరు ప్రజెంట్ చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది. ఒక 15 మెంబర్స్ అనుకోండి, 3 కోడింగ్ టెక్నిక్స్ పెట్టుకోండి. 3 కోడింగ్ టెక్నిక్స్ లో ఒక 5 మెంబర్స్ ఒక కోడింగ్ టెక్నిక్, ఇంకో 5 మెంబర్స్ ఇంకో కోడింగ్ టెక్నిక్ అట్లా ప్రజెంట్ చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది. సో 3 కోడింగ్ టెక్నిక్స్ అలా పెట్టుకొని ఫస్ట్ 15. నెక్స్ట్ 15 ఏంటంటే మైక్రో కంట్రోలర్ మీద ఏమన్నా ఇంటర్ఫేసింగ్ కానీ ఏదైనా ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ దాని మీద చేపిద్దామని, ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ కమ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్, సమ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్, అది సెకండ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్. లేదు మీరేమన్నా మీ దగ్గర ఏదైనా ఐడియాస్ ఉంటే కనుక మీరు పలానా దాని మీద చేస్తామంటే యు ఆర్ వెల్కమ్. ఓకే, సో దట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు డిసైడ్. సో ఫస్ట్ 15 members is one batch and second 15 members is another batch. There are 2 projects in the electronics. Okay, so these projects are purely from that is the deep reading of your syllabus only, because to carry out the separate projects in the lockdown conditions, the corona criteria, so it is very difficult. So because to come to the college and collect the material etc, it is very difficult for you also. So therefore you have to write it neatly from your syllabus only. Okay, so 2 projects. First 15 members is these coding techniques, and next 15 members is some of the program. Maybe some programs will decide if they are just give him create a group like that. First 15 members one WhatsApp group you can create, and next 15 members another WhatsApp group you can create, so that we can able to share, add my number also in that group, particular group, so that we can able to communicate regarding the projects. Because maybe your schedule is under progress, within few days you will have your examinations, both the theory as well as your practical exams. Okay, now coming to the line coding techniques. So in the line coding techniques, so simply we are communicating a digital data. Always the digital data is in zeros and ones format. So digital data is always in the zeros and ones format. So normally which is communicating in the format that I'll give you. Okay, so the digital data in which format we are communicating, that in the second lecture, that it is one minute. That is the signal levels. Somewhere it is there. I will show it. So it will come in some particular order. So normally, so what is the definition of the line coding? This is the first slide. So the line coding is defined as the process of converting binary data to a digital signal format. So binary data, it is not as it is, we cannot communicate. If you are communicating as it is manner, there will be some errors, or it is easily theft by some of the people. So therefore there is always you must code the data. So the coded data you have to communicate. So the coded data, the resultant value is generally called as a signal. So the binary data is always converting. That is a line coding. The line coding is defined as the process of converting binary data to a digital signal. For example, let us assume this is a binary data. This is a binary data. Now in the coding format, this data, binary data, can be converted into the signal format. That is some waveforms. Always The signals are coming in the form of the waves. Which type of waves we are communicating? The waveform, maybe without any modifications of this data. So 0 is like a 0, and here it is 1 0 1 1 0 0, like this. This is the signal in this format. But if you are communicating in this format, because of this to separation of the data bits, there is identification of the data, exact data bits are received or not. So if you are communicating in the ASCII data, if suppose there are 5 bits at a time, so it is completely, it is acting like a pure DC, there is a chance of creating some of the heat. So if your DC current is communicating through the channels, for longer data packets, there is a chance of producing the eddy currents. There is a chance of producing the eddy currents. So if you are communicating this type of data, is some of the disadvantage. Always the data must be coded in a manner so which should not have any errors in your data. So in that manner you have to code. So this is general format. So generally called as this is a signal. Data, it is a signal format which is appearing like this. So the line coding is defined as the process of converting binary data to a digital signal format. Now, there are certain characteristics of the line coding. Today will discuss about the characteristics of the line coding only. Various types of techniques we will discuss in the next class. So what are the different techniques? So return to 0, non-return to 0, Manchester, biface, etc. Various coding techniques are there. So all the coding techniques we'll discuss. So today we will discuss just there are 4 different characterizations of the line synchronization process. So that is signal level and data level. This is one characteristic. Then pulse rate and bit rate, signal level and data level, pulse rate and bit rate, then DC component, then self synchronization. These are the 4 important characteristics. So whenever you are framing a digital code, some coded form of the signal, you must keep in your mind that there are 4 important characteristics involving in the process of the coding process. Okay, that is signal level and data level, pulse rate and bit rate, DC component, and self synchronization. So what is the difference between signal levels and data levels? Here you can see this is your data. So that is a binary data. You can remove that. Yeah, this diagram you can see. Now we have a data. This is a data 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 0 1 0. So how many data models we have? Only 2 types of bits we have. That is 0, either 0 or 1. Either 0 or 1. So this 0 or 1 we can converting into signal levels. If the signal level which is having only the 0 level and positive level, this is having only 2 levels. This is signal levels only 0 and high. But if the signal is communicating in the negative part also, instead of the 0 and 1, the signal is communicating plus amplitude and minus amplitude. This signal is having 3 different types of levels. One is the 0 level, next one is the plus amplitude, that is maybe plus 5 volts, minus 5 volts, like that, plus VCC, and this is minus VCC sometimes called. So therefore this is one level, 0 is one level, and negative VCC also one level. So therefore the signal consists of 3 different levels, whereas the data consists of only 2 levels, 0 and 1. But signal is, if you are coding like this, so this is a biphase. Biphase means it has a positive phase as well as the negative phase. So this is one type of coding technique. There are various coding techniques. We will discuss all the different types of techniques. So this type of value, it is called as a signal levels. Signal levels are, there are 3 different types of signal levels. These are the data. Data means only zeros and ones. So now you can see the definition of this. So this page, you go for this page, that is the signal levels. The number of values, signals. The number of values allowed in a particular signal is defined as the number of signal levels. The number of values allowed in a particular signal, number of allowed values, that is 0 value plus amplitude and minus amplitude. So three amplitudes, 3 0 plus and minus, therefore the signal levels are 3. So the number of values allowed in a particular signal is defined as the number of signal levels. Whereas the data levels means the number of values to represent data. Number of values to represent data. So normally the data will be represented in two formats only, that is 0 or 1 format. So number of values to represent data is called as the number of data levels. Okay, these are the definitions, signal levels and data levels definition. So this figure will give you the clear picture of, this is the data and here it is the signal. If the negative voltage levels are not allowed in the signal, then it has only 2 signal levels. But if it is allowing the negative levels also, if it is allowing negative levels, this is called the positive signals, negative signals, as well as the 0 signals also. Sometimes this 0 signal will not allow in some of the configuration model. So either positive or negative only it will communicate. That will check in which model it converting like that. Okay. So this is about the signal level and data level. Now coming to the pulse rate and bit rate. So pulse rate and bit rate, there is a small deviation, some difference between pulse and bit. So now you can see the definition of the pulse rate. Pulse rate is defined as the number of pulses per second. Pulse rate is defined as the number of pulses per second, and a pulse is defined as the minimum amount of time required to transmit a symbol. Minimum amount of time required to transmit a symbol. So that is about the pulse. What about the bit? So bit is defined as the number of bits per second. So bit rate is defined as the number of bits per second. If one pulse corresponds to 1 bit, then pulse rate equal to bit rate. But if pulse carries more than 1 bit, then pulse rate is lower than the bit rate. So now you can see the pulse and bit, the difference. Pulse and bit difference you can observe. So let us see in one figure. So this is uh, somewhere we have that I will see. Pulse rate and bit rate. Okay, so maybe we'll see the examples in the next slides. Few slides will. So let us see. So here it is. Let us assume this is a pulse. This pulse can be converting into different coding format. Here it is one. This is one negative. This is then. This is one. So like that, there are different bits. So see here how many the pulse half fills every. So middle of the this one there is a transmission. So here also negative transmission. The particular codes will discuss. Okay. So these are generally called as a bits. The bits are more. So more number of bits. So therefore, always the bit rate is more. If both are equal, then the pulse rate is equal to bit rate. So just you can see the definition. So number of pulses per second, and a pulse is defined as the minimum amount of time required to transmit a symbol. One symbol, one either complete one or complete zero. That is generally a pulse. But that one can be splitting into the half portions. Then it is a bit format. So we can divide into that. So therefore, that bit is generally a number of bits per second. Bit rate, that is a number of bits per second. Pulse rate is the number of pulses per second. Number of pulses per second. So if you know the pulse and bit, then we can able to clearly differentiate. So then there is a relation between the bit rate and pulse rate. The relation is you see the relation. So this one. So bit rate is equal to pulse rate into log L to the base 2. Pulse rate into log capital L, where capital L is the 2 to the power of m. Capital L is the 2 to the power of m. So therefore, the bit rate is equal to pulse rate into log L to the base 2. So therefore, if you are substituting that, so if you are substituting, it is simply 2 to the power of m. So where that m is equal to number of bits per sample. Number of bits per sample. So if you are substituting that value, in place of L, if you are substituting log 2 to the power of m, so log 2 to the power of m, so that is log x to the power of m is equal to m log x. So here also you can substitute this in place of L. So in place of L, you can substitute this log 2 to the power of m to the base 2. 2 to the power of m, you are taking like this log 2 to the base of 2. This is equal to 1. So therefore, in place of this entire formula, that is treated as 1. So pulse rate into m. So number of bits per sample. In one sample, there is only one bit. Only one sample, it is one bit. Therefore, bit rate is equal to pulse rate. So one sample is not divided into different bits. Sample is completely a single bit. One full sample is completely a single bit. Then the bit rate is equal to pulse rate. If one sample is divided into different bits, some 3 bits or 4 bits, then this value, that bit rate is more than the pulse rate. So bit rate is more number of bits per second. Pulse means some number of bits per second. So this is the relation between the bit rate and the pulse rate. Now this is another important parameter, that is the DC component. If any DC component present in the signal for the longer duration, any DC component present in the longer duration, for example, continuous zeros or continuous ones. Continuous zeros or continuous ones, because in the DC communication, if there are 5 ones means 5 clock pulses, some 5 volts DC is communicating. So that is one of the disadvantage. If you are communicating the DC for the longer duration, there is a chance of damaging the device, and also the clock synchronization, there is a mismatch, chance of mismatching the synchronization of the clock. Therefore we can eliminate the continuous, these side by side ones or side by side zeros. So further there is a need of the process of coding to eliminate that continuous zeros or continuous ones, to eliminate that type of technique. But the receiver must understand which is zero and which is, where is zero and where is one. So the coding techniques are very very important. So therefore this DC component role is very very important. Therefore over one cycle period of a waveform, over one cycle period of a waveform, if all the positive voltages are cancelled by the negative voltages, all the positive voltages are cancelled by the negative voltages, then DC component of the waveform is zero. So without separating that, all positives and negatives, that will become zero. So cycle, one cycle period of a waveform, if all the positive voltages are cancelled by negative voltages, then DC component of the waveform is zero. That is the center. There is no positive voltage or no negative. It is passing through a zero line. Okay. So that is about the DC component. Zero line means it is no positive voltage, no negative. Therefore, in the line coding, the signal with the non-zero DC component, the non-zero DC component is treated as a distorted one. Non-zero DC component is treated as a distorted one, and it can create errors in received signal. It creates errors in received signal. The signals with a DC component cannot pass through a transformer. DC, that zero signal which cannot pass through the transformer, hence the signal with zero DC components are okay. The signals with zero DC components are preset, that is preferred. So now you can see so this method, the signals with a DC component cannot pass through a transformer, hence the signals with zero DC components preferred. Okay, let us see. So here it is. This is a three level signals, that is plus voltage, minus voltage, and this is the, so here it is zero DC component. This is no zero level is passing through this signal. Either it is a negative voltage level, there is a sharp hike, there is a sharp hike. Oh, we have only few minutes time left. So this is a zero level. Okay, negative peak, and there is a sharp rise from negative to positive, then which is more positive voltage is passing, then again there is a sharp transition from positive to negative, short transition from positive to negative. Then again there is a, so there is no zero level voltage in this. So sudden hike from negative to positive or positive to negative. So this is zero component, and this signal which is having the zero level for some time, that is either it is a negative, this is shifted to the positive. So that is plus a 0 and plus a only, no negative. This type of signal is having a DC component. So if it is DC, instead of passing this, so this type of passage is preferred. As for this sentence, the signal in this format is preferred. So therefore you can see the signals with a DC component cannot pass through a transformer, hence the signals with zero DC components are preferred. Signals with zero DC components are preferred. So that is about the third characteristic. So that is, one is the data and signal, second one is the pulse and beat, third one is the DC component. Now coming to the fourth one, that is the synchronization of the clock. Now from this you can just read the sentence. If the receiver's bit intervals corresponds exactly to the sender's bit intervals. So whatever the time interval, by the time interval of the clock of the sender is equal to the time interval of the clock of the receiver. So okay. So if the receiver bit intervals corresponds exactly to the sender's bit intervals, so only then it is possible to receive a signal correctly. So that means there is no deviation of the clock widths of the sender as well as the receiver. Then it is generally known as the synchronization of the clock. The clock, how speed it is, how speed the signal is sending, with the same speed the receiver is also able to receive. That means, suppose I am speaking some of the words, I should maintain certain gap between the words. So that is for the clear standing of the audience. So if you can able to understand my the sentences, I have to speak with a proper time intervals. Suppose I am speaking with a random fashion, so with very high speed, you cannot able to reach, you cannot able to catch that signal. So that means you can able to receive my information, you can able to understand whatever the things I am saying here. Then you are in my clock, you are synchronized with my speech. So in the same way, for the digital signal also, whatever the speed given, that means whatever the speed the data is transmitting from the sender, the same speed can be catched by the receiver. So then only it is an effective communication. So therefore, the receiver's bit intervals corresponds exactly to the sender's bit intervals. Only then it is possible to receive a signal correctly. So let us assume the clock frequency of TX and RX, that is the clock frequency of the sender. This is the sender clock, receiver clock. So clock frequency of transmitter and receiver should be same. Both the clock frequencies must be equal. If the clock frequency of TX and RX are different, then data at TX and RX will be different. So if there is a deviation in the clock frequencies, the received signal and the transmitted signal, there may be the source of error. So to match data at TX and RX, clock frequency should be same and synchronized. So both the clock frequencies must be equal. Both the clock frequencies must be equal. So that is generally synchronization of the clock. So this is the example. The clock frequencies both should be equal. Otherwise, for every some clock interval, there is some deviation in the clock frequency, so that there is a chance of getting errors. Okay. So now this is about the today's class. So far we discussed about these techniques, different type of methods, the signal level and data level, pulse rate and bit rate, DC component, self synchronization. So self synchronization, both the sender clock and receiver clock must be equal. So this is about today's class. Maybe the next class will discuss about various types of coding techniques. They are called as a line coding techniques. So that is pulse amplitude modulation formats. So there are unipolar return to zero, unipolar non-return to zero, polar. Unipolar means only one side voltage, that is there is no negative voltage is appearing. Unipolar return to zero, that is 0 to plus, and 0 to plus and come back. Each and every bit return to zero. So unipolar non-return to zero, polar return to zero, polar non-return to zero, then bipolar non-return to zero. It is generally called as a alternate mark inversion, AMI, alternate mark inversion. Then split phase Manchester, split phase Manchester. So these are the different types of the coding techniques. We are going to discuss these various types of coding techniques with the examples. We'll discuss in the next class. So with this, I am going to end my today's class. So if you have any doubts, please ask me. So we have one more 1 minute time. So in the 1 minute time, once again I'll give you some of the details. So in the first unit, completely it's a mathematical analysis like a Fourier transforms. Then the concept of the sampling. Sampling means for any analog signal. So signal is in a sinusoidal waveform. That sinusoidal waveform can be divided into some equal intervals. So equal intervals, you can split that, and each, whether it is a positive level or negative level, there are some of the techniques. That is a sampling. There is a theorem for the sampling theorem. It is very, very important theorem. You must learn that theorem, sampling theorem. It's very, very important in the first unit. So that theorem you must know, you must learn. So that sampling theorem, sampling methodology, various types of sampling techniques. That is the first unit, completely mathematical part and some of the sampling theorems, etc. Your second unit deals with the various types of modulation techniques.